Now, when I'm talking about scarcity, I'm not talking about how much money you make. That is a piece of it. But in scarcity, I'm talking about more of a mindset, the thought process of an idea that you have in your mind of how you're able to show up for yourself, how you're able to provide for yourself, how you're able to open up to who you are, to the direction you actually want to go. And for me, some of that scarcity has transitioned over the years to be about different things, to be connected with different things. But I was talking to one of my year-long clients. She's in my Thriver Mastermind. And the thing that we were talking through yesterday was this concept of scarcity and how she's afraid to win, how she's afraid to actually do the things that she knows is required for her to actually grow, change, and develop into the person she's called to be. And a lot of times she gets really close to it and then pulls back, or it gets really close to the hopes and dreams and all of a sudden it like transitions or it disappears. Have you ever had that? Have you ever had a time where you're like, I'm really close to my hopes and my dreams, I'm really close to this goal, and all of a sudden it just disappears? Not that it just like disappeared from like your perspective, but it disappeared even out of a sense of like self-sabotage. Have you ever experienced that? Like, is this something you've ever seen before? Because we started diving into some of the nuances, some of the pieces about it, and started to realize a piece that was actually controlling her was this thing of scarcity, of a mindset that was scarcity. Like for me, I grew up in a place of scarcity when it came to different financial resources, different things like that. But it's scarcity in the mindset of how I was raised. Like when I was raised, like we didn't have a ton of money. We didn't look a certain way. We didn't act a certain way. And oftentimes like the food that got put on the table was provided like by a green handshake the day before. Like we would do different things where it would just be like, it was never really in abundance. It was just like a piece of like, well, here's something to be able to tide us through. Now, this thought process and then layer on top different aspects of like Christianity and religion started to give me this idea of like, oh, money is bad. And oh, living in abundance is bad. And oh, growing and changing in that development is bad. Like if you've been in any Christian circles, you probably see this where like money is the root of all evil. And it all ends up communicating as just being like, hey, this is evil. Okay. So this whole piece that happens lives in aspects here is this concept of scarcity. For me, it ended up impacting a ton of my life, being like, how can I actually grow this? How can I actually develop? How can I actually be who I'm called to be? Because I'm not good enough. Because who's going to listen to me? Because of all these different pieces, all these different lies, all these different things that go through my head. So we were talking about this. I was working with my client the other day, and we were talking about this, going through this concept of scarcity and how it was impacting, how it was affecting her. She would get close to winning in different aspects of life, whether that's her business or whether that's different places that she's trying to go, different things she's trying to do, and then pull back because of the thought process of scarcity. Of like, I can't do this. This isn't who I can be. And oftentimes we find this with people who are struggling with narcissistic abuse, as you get out or as you start to work on your healing, you're like, I can't do this. Like, who's going to even care about this? And there's all these different pieces of like helping you move into this place of not just scarcity, but what I want to talk to you about too is this place of abundance. It's interesting. I asked her to describe it the other day. I was like, what would abundance actually look like? Like, what would that actually feel like? Not like what it would look like as far as like money wise, but what would that feel mentally? The words she listed out would be ease, flow, joy, peacefulness, confidence, happy. Because the thing is, you can grow to a place where you have abundance in all of your life, where you have abundance in your physical body, of how it works, how it shows up, of your relationships, of your business, of all different pieces of this, but still be trapped in the mindset of thinking of scarcity. We see this all the time. I see this particularly working with people one-on-one in the aspect of abuse, especially narcissistic abuse, where you get out of the relationship, you start to move forward, and you're still stuck in a prison of your own mind. You're stuck in a prison of what the narcissist has said to you, how he's talked to you, how he's treated you, how he's affected you back and forth. You're stuck in that. We often call this a prison, or we refer to it as a trauma bond, where you are trapped in a toxic relationship and you're like, I do not know how to get out of this. This piece of the trauma bond makes you feel crazy. It makes you feel insane. Right? Like this is a place where you're like, I feel crazy because I know this person's toxic, but I still want to go back to him. Like I still have this peace inside of me that loves and cares for him. And so I still want to go back to him, but I know he's toxic. But oftentimes it still sucks you back in. It still pulls you back in. The trauma bond oftentimes is made up of hope and potential. Thinking, hey, this might work. This might be something that's going to happen. It's made up of cognitive dissonance of like, what do I actually believe? Do I believe his words or do I believe his actions? And you get stuck in the middle and you're like, I don't know what to choose. I don't know what to decide. He's just having communication problems. He's just having an issue right now. He's just working through something. We'll get through this. And you start to hold off a little bit longer thinking maybe this will work out. Maybe this is just the price you have to pay. Maybe it's because you're not good enough. Maybe you have to change and modify all these things about yourself to get better so that he'll stay with you, so it'll work out, and it doesn't work. Maybe you're at the place where you kind of get drawn back in because of how much back and forth it's been. How much back and forth a person has pushed you and brought you back and forth. Okay? This all happens inside the piece of the trauma bond. Someone said only Jesus Christ can rewire the brain. So I get where you're coming from, but Jesus is also not a narcissist. He's not coming into your life and being like, boom, let's rewire you. He gives you an opportunity. And just like what I try to provide is an opportunity to understand what we're talking about, not just say, oh, do this. We give you one path to be able to help you move forward. There's other therapists, there's other counselors. A lot of people that come to Raw Motivation are because they're tired of the therapists and the counselors not actually helping them. Because you can have all the knowledge, you can have all the religion, you can have all the people and support in your corner, but until you actually get to the truth of the situation, the facts that have actually happened, until you rewire the concept, the thought process, nothing is going to change. And this is the piece that until someone is willing to view the facts of the relationship, the facts of the situation, nothing will actually change and you'll remain stuck for a long period of time. Going no contact isn't going to fix it. Knowing everything about narcissism, knowing all the terminology, knowing all the nuances, knowing why he did all these things is not going to save you. You are the only person that can actually work on that. You are the only person that can actually grow, change, and develop. You can't fix the other person. You can't make them change. You can't make them do anything. You are the only one. But right now, you're probably in a place where you feel absolutely stuck. You feel confused. You feel lost. This place, even though it feels awful, even though it feels crazy, even though it's getting this place, because of everything you've been through, is actually normal. Now, I'm not normalizing to say stay there. Not at all. I'm just saying based on everything that has happened in your life and every abuse and every piece that's happened in the narcissistic bond, where you currently at is not crazy. You're not insane. Like, you need to be able to understand this. This is a piece that you will feel for such a long period of time. You will feel like you're the crazy one. You will feel like it is your fault. You will feel like you're not good enough. It has nothing to do with that.